Go now to dryerbuzz.com and follow at dryerbuzz on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's all about the buzz.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever it is. Listen, happy new year, whatever. I don't know, because this is a live podcast recorded on a Sunday morning in August of 2019, okay? 2K19. I don't know when you heard it. Let me know when you hear this. Let me know when you discovered it. If you discovered it live, welcome me, and we're about to have an amazing conversation. If you discovered it 24 hours from now, 48 hours from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, I'm telling you, because that's usually when I never know. But what we will do is you're about to get my first thoughts of the morning. You hear that frog in my throat? I got one eye open, barely have rolled over. And I was laying here and I'm like, you know what? I got to get this thing started. I hope that you have, as we reflect, I hope that you have had something amazing to experience this week, celebrated this week. And even if it wasn't yours or all about you, I hope that you were able to lend yourself to somebody else's celebration, to somebody else's good news. I hope that you didn't side eye everything, that you weren't negative about everything. Because I know those days come. We call them our bitterness days. We call them our burn days, days where you can't be productive. We celebrate just being part of human nature. All of these things are human nature. Everybody can be positive every day. I'm not trying to be. I'm a Scorpio. I am going to be bitter about some stuff. I am going to be vengeful. I am going to hold on to some stuff. It's going to take me a long, slow time to forgive. But on those good days, if we could talk most about, not more about, but if we could talk most about those good days when we are nice and kind and forgiving, that we are sharing, that we are lending ourselves to other things besides what we want. I look down my timeline and I see so many me, myself, and I's, and I've always been that person. You hear me say we, us, all the time, because I just refuse to believe that this time that I have here is all about me. There was a very long time when nobody knew who was writing for Dryer Buzz. Nobody knew. Everybody thought that was like the biggest entity, and it is. It's a family business. But people always say, well, where's your story? Where's your bio? Where's this, that, and the other? I just never really wrote it. I started on a memoir. I was gonna do a memoir. It's called F a Memoir. Can't say what it's really called, but it was called F. It is called F a Memoir, and it's just kind of ongoing. But I was able to build the reputation for Dryer Buzz on lending myself and turning the lens on so many other amazing things. I wanted to wake up each and every day and just archive something that was absolutely awesome and amazing. And I still look for that. I wake up and I'm like, man, I am weeding through all this other stuff trying to figure out like what's out there that I could take it and find some joy in it. Let me tell you, one of the things, and I've already said it this morning, we go through so much to suppress our joy. Now, one of the things, and I'm going to tell you why it's human nature. It's human nature for us to kind of do things on the low. We've had to do things on the low. And we respond in that way. And I'm talking about people of color, right? We respond in that way still. I think it's more and more than, I don't know. Because people keep talking about how we look. And my response to how we look is always, to whom? To whom? Now, mind you, we've had some generations that had to pay particular attention to how we look. I remember watching, and I watch it periodically, Driving Miss Daisy, right? And you never really got a glance into Hoke's life, It's like you just knew Hoke had some stuff going on that he wasn't going to let Miss Daisy know, right? He was not, like, Hoke. They would always try to inquire into Hope's life. And he would tell them, that's my business, Miss Daisy. And when he was talking, I remember there were a couple of conversations he was having with Miss Daisy's son. And Hope, like one time they were trading in the vehicles, and Hope was like, he asked Hope if he was missed that vehicle. Hope was like, no, I bought it, And he was like, well, why didn't you just do a deal with me? He's like, because we got enough going on. You don't need to be all in my business, right? And there were a time or two Miss Daisy was making her assumptions and stuff, And in the end, when Hope drove up in the end, and they were going to visit Miss Daisy after she had been placed in care. They were going to, and he asked Hope, this young woman, beautiful young woman, drops Hope off, and he was like, he was like, that's my granddaughter. You know, she just graduated from Spelman and this, that, and the other. And he's like, who knew? They didn't even know Hope had and was the head of a household and family, because it wasn't up for discussion. What I hate for us to do, and let me tell y'all, that's become one of my talking points. Let me write that down. It's just not up for discussion, not up for. I'm gonna write that down, because there's a lot that shouldn't be up for discussion and some would. And so I like that Hope went through that whole movie. He was like, I get telling these folks, because that generation had to be that way. They had to be that way, you know. And there's still these little inquiries we do of each other cross culturally, because we don't let it all out, right? They couldn't, we wouldn't, right? And the next generation won't, right? But yet what happens is when these moments of us, our joy surges, such as the sandwich, the chicken sandwich, or people keep saying how we look. I'm like, to whom, right? Now I know, like I said, how we look. Okay. I'm still wondering to whom, because I know to whom. I just want people to say it so that they process it. That's who you have. That's who you let have a hold on you. And it may not be another race. It could be, I know in our household, we came across a book. Well, there's a lot of books. We subscribe to a lot of stuff up in here to survive as human nature places us, right? I found a book one time at the grocery store called Living with Screwed Up People. It literally is a book called, and they might have retitled it, but honey, I saw that book and brought it home, because we had some issues in the household that we were trying to figure out, because it's like, you could tell sometimes in families, one person or another may intimidate people. Not even that they're trying to, it's just you put so much stock in what that other person thinks of you, believes of you, knows of you, and you start acting according to what you think. And guess what? And we talked about this on another podcast. What you will find, if you ever say this stuff out loud to that person, you will find that people are not thinking about you as much as you think they thinking about you. I can't even write that down. Okay? People are not thinking about you as much as you think they are thinking about you. Come on. And what happens is you are suppressing your own growth and existence, the love that you can have, the joy that you can have, the experiences you can have, because you think somebody's watching it and don't nobody see you. There are people out there that feel like eyes are always on them. And it might be because you might have a little bit of a smile. I used to feel that way, like, man, I can't be happy in this space, or I can't be happy in that space. You know, but then you kind of find out ain't nobody thinking about you. Ain't nobody. How many times have you heard that? Now I know, yeah, there's some, especially in social media, some people are thinking about you a little bit too much. I know, because you see it in their posts, and you know they're talking about you because they've been all trolling all on your timeline. But they don't realize that Facebook lets you know who's trolling on the timeline, and if they go to somewhere else and say something about you, Facebook will show it, because, like, look, they clearly just left your page. Y'all don't know how these algorithms work. Okay, if you in one space and you go somewhere else and say something about somebody, whether you mention them or not, you left a trail and breadcrumbs that Facebook thinks you got something in common. And that's how people be over there like, well, dang, how they see my post? Yeah, they saw your post. I was about to call you something, but I won't. Right? Because we are linked together. Write that down. Right? There are people who say, well, how come I can't be anonymous over here and have, because if you got any kind of association with any of these platforms, they are following you everywhere. That's why you can walk in your kitchen and get something to eat and come back and see an ad for it, right? That's why you can have something going on. They're listening, right? They're listening for keywords and things that you say. Still, I don't see no great ads on airlines yet. I don't see that yet. Okay, and probably because the airlines are not paying these social media platforms to advertise. You know, the Southwest Southwest still out there. I think everybody's flying Spirit, but yeah, I do see a couple Spirit things. But used to be every what, Tuesday, you would see a Southwest ad, and you had to purchase by Thursday. Where did they go? People were dogging that comment section out so bad they probably don't even advertise anymore. So I'm still waiting on some good deals so I can go back and forth to New York like I used to. Love. Oh my God, that good $75, $80 flight to New York used to be amazing. Then they start coming down to over 100 and all that. Nobody can't keep escaping like that. No. But anyway, people aren't thinking about you as much as you think about. What you need, the talking point you need to get that drive. See, some of y'all don't want to watch Driving Miss Daisy because y'all think you overthinking it. You thinking like, oh, it's just such a. Y'all better watch Driving Miss Daisy because hope is the best. Hope is the best way of life. Right. One movie I didn't too much particularly care for, but I still watch, and they're both the same. What's the one? The Butler. The Butler with Oprah and Forrest Whitaker and David Oyelowo. I think he was in that too, in another American role. Let me think. Who else? There was some other people. One of your guys got put on in that movie, and you get a chance to see how the different generations. The Butler represented the silent generation. They called him the silent generation because they didn't say much about what was going on. All right, a lot wasn't up for discussion, and he worked in the White House all of those years. And boomers they made some of these subliminal errors that the next generation, every generation has these errors that they made on how they handle things, or wait, not even errors, but just ways that we just did not understand because they didn't go about explaining what they did enough so that we can understand. So we ended up with these walls between generations because one of the things we do as generations is we don't explain enough out loud what it is we're doing. One thing that I did with my children to try to break that cycle is I explain out loud, here's why I'm doing this. Here's why we live this way. Here's why this is of importance in our household. Regardless of what's going on outside these doors, this is what, because my mother used to do that too. This is what's important and how we recognize different things. I remember coming up during time when BET was destroying the generation. Black Entertainment Television, BET, was trying to prep themselves for a great sale, and they were destroying the generation because the only way they could sell it was to destroy a generation. Then they went through this whole rebranding and all that kind of stuff. So during the time they were destroying a generation, my children were growing up, and I wasn't about to tell them not to watch, because the more I would tell them, like, y'all can't watch that mess. They go to the friend's house and they still watch. They get on the school bus, they still talking about it. They get to school, they still coming in here talking about that stuff. And I'm like, look, let's just see what's on there. What are y'all watching? And I watch it with them, and I would respond accordingly, like reality shows. They want to watch reality shows. Okay, I'm gonna watch it with you. They ain't got no problem, Mom, and they will come and, Mom, come on, let's watch this, because they know the only way. And they grown right now. Hey, Mom, you wanna watch The Housewives? I'm like, okay, come on. And they're not gonna watch it without, because one, they get a kick out of how I respond. They get a kick out how I respond to the shock value of a lot of this stuff. Mom, check this song out, and I'm over here gasping for air, clutching my purse. I'm like, whoa, what is that? One of the hottest rappers out there. I know his parents, and I'm like, oh my God, what is he saying? What is your baby out there saying, girl? We on the yacht. Okay, I understand, but these songs. Right? I'm just saying, I'm like, girl, what is this boy saying? Can't even tell what he's saying. He on the red carpet right now. I understand. But what is he saying in this song? Y'all don't understand. I'm not trying to drop names. I'm just saying, because that ain't even up for discussion who I know and what I know. But I'm just saying, some of it we got to discuss. We got to, is some of it, what should be up for discussion, what should not. My children, I've poured into them my reaction, my response to these things, and they follow me on social media. Ain't nobody. Well, I think one or two might have me, but I got 4. That's why I have 4, because you got to have good odds. I gotta have a family, because you got to have good odds when you have to. All y'all out there with the 1 and 2, y'all better have a 3rd and a 4th. I'm telling y'all, you're gonna need those odds. Okay, you're gonna need those odds, and they would always want to enjoy this stuff. And I've never said don't do anything. Just understand what's going on. Understand if there's an agenda attached to it, who owns it, who's doing it, what's behind it, and all those kind of things. Like, people is telling y'all, please listen, anybody going to get in the line, because Chick-fil-A is closed today. Popeyes is open, y'all. If you are going, please buy a friend a sandwich. Because these people out here, I'm so mad at y'all, and I've been watching it, and I think it's a jealousy thing because they don't have time to go sit in the line. It ain't payday yet, and I'm not throwing shade, I'm just pointing out the errors that are being made. Because when people react, that's what I do. I gauge these kinds of reactions, and I have to watch social media every day, every second of social media, because I have to consult clients and people, not even clients, like people I work with, businesses, on whether or not they should jump in and on these trends. Oh, people are saying this. I have to go and tell somebody, hey, listen, this is perfect for your business. This conversation over here, this hashtag over there, this, that, and the other, this, that, and the other. I have to tell them, so I have to watch this stuff, and I have to I write these little reports and things like that, So I have to watch these behaviors, y'all. Damn, if we have to keep talking about behaviors, okay? So I have to gauge these behaviors, like literally, like I just woke up and I have already looked down the timeline. So what I'm going to surmise from those that are reacting to the latest what's the word, buying power, the latest how am I going to word this in my report, is because I got to give a report to a couple of people. How I'm going to relay this in the report is how people are responding to this, because data is worth so much money, and I get to go around and talk about these things. And so in my next appearance, I will have to break this down. And so what I'm breaking down today in this latest report is how those that responded telling people to go vote, those that are telling people they're going to end up with some kind of cancer, those that are telling people that they need, all kinds of stuff. They need to cook. They need to stop eating chicken. They need to, all these kinds of things. There are those mindfully that are telling you about things in your diet and those kinds of things. But those that are just upset at the pure joy, because that's what they're really mad at. Pure. P-R-E. I can't spell, y'all. J-O-Y. And all that's going on, there are those, and these are the dangerous. Oh, damn, there go the word dangerous. These are the dangerous ones. These are the dangerous people that we are following, that we are family with, that are coming at us, and they are simply saying and sharing and liking and co-signing on these things because they are literally upset with the pure joy that's being experienced. Now I'm going to get psychological on you guys. In our country, America, in the walls of America, for generation to generation to generation to generation. How many generations we got to have? There are about 5 to 6 generations right now interwoven, okay? The silents are still with us. The boomers are still with us. The generation X and Y. And why X and Y put in there together? The millennials, and then there are Generation C. There's Generation Z and Generation C. I like Generation C is pretty much all of us as a generation that's coming up, and they've been connected since day one. Meaning that, they've been swiping, they've been online, they're born with usernames, born with social media profiles, they're born, their education and all that stuff, everything's computer generated for them. They're connected, right? Generation C. So that's about 5 I can count right there. And even a couple of, maybe 1 or 2 from beyond the silence is still here. Because folk out there turning 117, 120, right? Because they grew up eating like watermelon. And y'all don't know that's like the fountain of youth, right? Okay, all that kind of stuff. They still with us, right? So in that, there's a construct that was attempted to be interwoven in between those generations, and there was a decade or more of assassinations that took place in the United States, and these people were assassinated simply because they did one thing in this country. Okay, now in America, the one thing you cannot do is, y'all ready? Because put your headphones on and all that kind of stuff, right? It is an unwritten law in this country to excite the Negro. Okay? Now, when the internet first started, there was all this information and data out there from generations past as to why these people were assassinated. These documents, every so often, documents are unsealed. Right? They're all of them are sealed. They have a date that they must be unsealed and available to the public. At the onset of the internet becoming public space and public access, you could go and, I don't know who was president at that time, or who was in charge of the FBI, the CIA, and all that kind of stuff. And they put this stuff. They weren't leaked; they were published, and these things get published. And so, in the explanation that people would have to go, whoever they reported to after these assassinations happened, and whoever wrote these reports, y'all know me, my head is always buried in a report and a research, right? And so there was this thing about if a person could excite the Negro to the point where the patterns of life would change, that person was assassinated, right? And I know when I use the word assassinated, everybody goes to Dr. King. Well, Dr. King was the last recorded one, and the follow-up report after Dr. King, the report was, well, there might not need to be another. There would not be another that would excite the Negro in the way that he did. That was the explanation, that we would see that the assassinations would stop because there probably would never be another. Now, as well as I do, there have been others that have excited the Negro, and you know what happens when you excite the Negro? Everybody get excited. That's why there's a dictate in media to manipulate emotions, and that's why you're talking about this Popeye situation, as if it's only black people doing it. Okay, black people weren't the first to get excited about it. First of all, black people are tasting that Popeye chicken and be like, wait, what's this? Black people weren't the first to do the Popeye challenge. Black people weren't the first to go and say, hey, this, when it got to the furor of it, once the Negro, the black person, got excited about it, it became overhyped, right? This is how I wake up. So, and so if you wanna take the discussion and go deep, rather than shaming your people, educate them, tell them what's really going on, right? Don't get mad simply because they are experiencing a pure joy of coming together. People rolling up in there with the whole family in the car. Go ahead. People are rolling up. I mean, it's just joy. Count it all joy. We don't get many moments like this. It ain't embarrassing. Stop worrying about who's looking in. Because ain't nobody seeing you but you on your timeline. That's your timeline. You might not have a diverse timeline. You might not ever let all kind of people friend you, right? You might not be friends with. You might not even leave your timeline and go troll or go incognito or go wherever you need to go to see that the rest of the world do. The first place I heard about the sandwich was on radio, on what non-black radio, sports radio, and I'm like, wait, I'm trying to think. The first place I saw it, I think I did. I think I heard about it on. I don't know. Wait a minute. I can't remember the first thing I saw, but I think it was radio. I think I heard about it on radio, and then I started to see it on the timelines. And lo and behold, I had an opportunity to go get a sandwich, did a little video, put it on the YouTube, did all that. But what you're complaining about, and we got to learn how to see beyond. If you're mad, or if you know somebody is mad, they're probably mad at the joy. That's probably what it is. Now I'm gonna say it's twofold. There are those that are out there saying how we look. I would say unfollow those people, because that's just dangerous. Because those are the people that take people out. Like, have y'all ever seen? I'm trying to think if there's a movie. I mean, that's just dangerous. Somebody always worried about what somebody else think. In my book, it's dangerous. You're not gonna ever be happy around that. That's my pet. I have to tell y'all, that's my pet peeve, especially as a blogger. Because I'm gonna tell you, that's something I've had to deal with for a long time. There have been people that I have done amazing stories on, amazing coverage, and will ask me to take it down. I promise you, I can't tell you how many times I have asked, that's why I don't even ask permission. That's why I don't even see credentials and all that kind of stuff. Right? I don't even do all that stuff. I'm like, look, I'm gonna do this story. And I like either they will and I don't apologize for it. They'll say something after, or they'll appreciate it later. I don't even care. I don't even that all that other stuff. Because I used to get so tired of. I would publish. I would publish it, and I'd get these calls and these inboxes and like, well, it's not quite right yet, And I'm like, I get it all the time, y'all. And most of the time, I get the inboxes and then I just ignore them because people will say, "Well, we're not ready yet. We don't." And because really what they want to say is a lot of times they don't. There are certain people out there that don't like their content parallel to black content, right? I get that. I get that all the time too. So it bothers me when somebody just gives you the what we look like. I'm like, to whom? What do we look like to whom? I don't like people who worry about what people think. Somebody did a little game on Facebook and they said, post in the comments just based on what your autocorrect or what your suggested text will say. They said, type this and then just follow through with the suggested text. And my literal suggested text said, a person who will never, ever care what someone thinks. So clearly, I say it all the time for that to be my suggested text. And that was my confirmation. If you want confirmation of who you are, whether you are negative or positive, look at your suggested text. Look, in fact, even in the comments of this, or tweet at me something from your suggested text. I am, and see what the suggested text says. And if it says something negative, deal with it. If it says something positive, congratulations. Because that's exactly what my suggested text said. Never, ever worried about what someone thinks. I'm like, hello. I am never, ever worried. Well, I ain't going to say I'm never, ever worried. Because what I have learned to do, if I have to worry, if that pops up into my psyche, what someone thinks, I don't go. Especially if I'm going to a place or something like, oh, that's not the right circle for me. Because I don't want to be in circles where I can't be myself. Wherever I go, I have to give my truth. Here's my truth. Because first of all, you looking at me, you see me. Let me go ahead and explain what's going on. So that so that I can know that you are genuine or not. Right? And because I can't worry about that. There's so much other things that we have to worry about. Dangerous. Let me go. Someone thinks. I'm writing down for the word cloud. For each of these, this is book 2. If you want to know, book 1 was 90 episodes of how to get out of bed. So if you're listening and you want to know why am I not talking more about the anxiety and the depression, that was in book 1. Book 2, we're graduating. Now we ain't graduated out of bed yet. We still have to deal with those things. But if you are catching this, if somebody shared it with you or tagged you in it, and say, hey, listen, they talking about how to get out of bed. Those go wherever you're hearing this one, wherever you see this one, they're the archives for book 1, which was 90 really good episodes where we dealt with things that we have to deal with on a daily basis on how to get out of bed as it relates to anxiety and depression. Now, see, the season has changed and we've gone on into book 2. And basically we've been talking a little bit more about things that we have to respond to. Like yesterday was really good. We talked about lingering in seasons, and lingering or after you see certain signs, lingering, live and let live. We talked about lingering, trying to have control, lingering with angst, lingering with people that are being loud and wrong, lingering distractions, lingering vulnerabilities, lingering in certain practices and behaviors, lingering everywhere except in the present, right? And we talked about lingering on autopilot, So many times we have to be on autopilot. And again, we said a lot of that makes us so vulnerable that it's dangerous. And I think so this week we've talked about things that have just become dangerous. Before that, we talked about sharing. I learned to share more so that you don't end up in such dangerous situations. I mean, like there are people who are just living every day and they can't wake up and find joy. Just dangerous. Say stuff aloud. Your fears. Express your fears aloud. What are you afraid of? Trust. Have someone around you that you can trust, so that you can be vocal. Literally, like be vocal about what's going on with you. Be determined. We talked about those echoes, things that we're hear in our minds, and how to fill that space. Because when you hear an echo, this is an empty space. But how to fill that space and comfortable. We talked about, expanding our comfort zone, not necessarily coming out of our comfort zone, but expanding our comfort zone so that we can be comfortable anywhere we are. Can you imagine that? Being comfortable any place you have to be. We talked about bitterness. That's when we like, look, sometimes we have to succumb to our bitterness. Like I got a little bit of bitterness right now. I am bitter about all the things that I'm seeing in the timeline. All those people that are conspiring to stop people from experiencing pure joy. I am on this unfollow tip somewhere. I'm like, I got to unfollow this person. And you can't unfriend because the platforms, they think you're doing something suspicious if you unfollow and unfriend, So what happens is when you start unfollowing people, like for me particularly, I spent 3 years or more in Twitter jail because I was one of the early adopters. And so if you had early on, the very first people who used hashtags are the very first people who started having conversations on Twitter. If you were part of that first group, just like right now, it's great to talk back to people. But when Twitter first started, you were just supposed to kind of like update your status and let it sit there for a day or so, right? Because it was actually an app that worked with other platforms. And then they started, well, wait, we want you to have some conversations over here. So if you were early on in the chat era of Twitter, they thought you were overusing the platform. So you would get punished. And if you started using the very first people who were using hashtags, the very first people that were chatting, the very first people who were, I gained my following that I have. I gained it because I spoke at a conference. So if you got all this, they thought, oh, you're doing something to get all this following. I'm like, no, it's an organic following. I was on tour. I was going to conferences. I was speaking and so forth, right? And so what they did was they hid the profile from search. They made me a vampire, a ghost, People, I can't find you on Twitter. I know, you got to go to my profile. Right? It's like how it's like a Malcolm X thing. They're like, she has too much power. I was nominated one of the top 100 women on Twitter, and they were like, oh no, what did they do that? It's like, okay, and then I was nominated one of the 30 providing African American content, and they were like, oh no, hide that profile, because what they didn't like was the fact that there were certain people who were exciting the Negroes. And they started changing up the algorithms. They start changing up, because if you really think about trending topic, is the trending topic, is it really the top 10 things that are being said? Well, during the Bush era on Twitter, the top 10 things that were being said, I lost my job. That was number one. Number two was I lost my house, right? If you were an adult when Bush was president, you probably experienced one of those two things. The third one is that you lost a family member or a friend in the war. Those were the three things that people were tweeting about and when Bush was president. Okay, so that's why a lot of us don't mind Trump, because a lot of folk ain't dying like they were during Bush. That's why people still to this day won't say, as I grab my lemonade, that Trump is worse than Bush, because he's not. Okay, because people out, you don't see people out here saying they lost their job. There's all kind of people out here today talking about, dang, I got 3-4 jobs, right? Like people are right now. Do y'all know in America, companies are meeting trying to figure out how to get people to stop ghosting? Because did I just do that? I did just put that. Lord, I just put this color on here. My glass had some stuff on it. Okay, I got distracted because it's like this perfect little circle on my book. And I'm like, Dad, my lemonade. Okay, so people are out here getting, they will accept one job and they're getting so many offers. Like homes are, when you put a house on the market, people are selling the houses in like a week, right? People out here making millions or hundreds of thousands. I ain't gonna say millions. I don't get caught up in all that. But people out here making hundreds of $1,000s on these Airbnbs that they are now running multiple properties, right? People who never thought they'd have a dime, right? We're talking about pure joy. I'm not contributing it to Trump. What I am contributing to is when there is such chaos in the White House, When you don't have a savior in the White House, people become very resilient, very resourceful. And so, yeah, the economy is doing some things now. And yeah, that has to do with all the presidents, right? Because there's a president here that signed this, that finally came to fruition, and Trump took this, okay? All of them, And so, there's a lot of pure joy going on, and you got to know when there's a lot of pure joy going on, excitement going on, there are those that can't take it, can't stand it, can't deal with it, right? And unfortunately, you're seeing that in your timeline, and you need to hide those folks. You can't unfollow them, can't unfriend them, can't unfamily them, but you need to hide. You don't need to see that. And I'm telling you, if it's on your timeline, because what you cannot do, and what you ought not to do, what you should not do, what you just can't do, you can't wait for them to get it. You can't. And that's where depression comes from. Depression comes from waiting for everybody to get it. That's why we as a society, we as a culture has not progressed as much as we have, because we keep waiting on everybody to get it. Stop waiting. I don't wait. I'll come back. I'll cycle back around. But what do you think? Now imagine if I had waited for black people to cross the digital divide. Imagine if I had waited for blogging to become understood. Imagine if I had waited for social media. I wouldn't be here saying, y'all, I got 30 years in this game. I got 17 years as Dryer Buzz. Because nobody understood. Everybody looked at me crazy when I first did it. I mean, that's where the bitterness, what is the bitterness come from? It comes from that. I can't tell you how many people I was telling to tweet. And now they rocking Twitter. I'm like, well, I told you to do that 2007. People who were like, don't put me on Facebook. Don't put me on Facebook. Now they got a Facebook page. Yeah, I'm bitter. I'm going to be bitter. Because they're living life, live long enough. There should be some things. There are a lot of people that are bitter at us. There are a lot of people that are bitter at us. People who started platforms, and everybody loving Facebook. But Facebook is a copy of what they did. Twitter is a copy of what they did. All those kinds of things. People that had to abandon. There are people who used to have rooming houses looking at y'all running up in these Airbnbs. There are people who used to have gypsy cabs looking at y'all running all up in these Ubers and Lyft. There are people that were trying to sell scooters. Looking at y'all all on these scooters, fighting to have scooters all night, out there getting run over. And I'm just saying, all these things. There's always somebody that tried to bring. There's always somebody that tried to bring the pure joy, but because they were doing something that we had not yet seen before, and we did not know how to embrace it. We did not. There are people out there right now that tried to partner. There was somebody called me out the blue, like they wanted to put Dryer Buzz on the network, and I'm like, well, at the time, I wasn't even really working on Dryer Buzz. I was doing something else. I was like, well, this really not, they wanted the content. I was like, well, I'm really not producing any content right now because I've got some other things going on. And I had to say no. And then here I come back, and I'm in Dryer Buzz, and I'm just pushing out content. And they're probably sitting there on timeline, like, look at her, see, we were trying to do this for her, and we were trying to do that. Because I get it all the time. But people have to be ready. We all have to be ready. It may not have been the season. That's why I say keep that door open. Stay optimistic. So if you were that person, hit me up because I am pushing out a lot of content right now. But I had to get back in this space. I was out of the space. I couldn't make that commitment then. Don't get mad. And I know that's probably my bitterness is my bitterness. My pet peeves are my pet peeves. It's theirs. But we have to understand. People got to get it. And I know everybody don't get it right now. That's why I said when you catch this podcast and you on that day that you can't get out of bed because one of these things have become your pet peeve, you just mad at the world. You mad, you feeling that FOMO, that FOGO and all that other kind of stuff. And you come across, you're like, well, how to get out of bed? Sometimes it is that day to just stay in the bed. Just chill out for a minute. Because I'm going to tell you, if getting out of that bed is not about pure joy, whether it's your own or whether you're about to bless somebody else, you're going to have trouble getting out of bed. I got out of bed yesterday, and I don't know what I had planned yesterday. And then I remember, I have something planned yesterday. I needed to go and support my daughter. My daughter performed she went and got online and got one of those things where what do you call it? She got ordained. I don't know, is it called ordained? What is it called? Somebody invested the powers in her that she could perform vow renewals. So she performed her first vow renewal yesterday. And I kept thinking, why am I going to this thing? I'm thinking, like, why am I going to somebody's wedding? You know, I'm like, oh, duh. I'm going to support my daughter. It's about her pure joy. It's about the pure joy that she wants to bestow on her friend. I'm like, because you have to process these things. Because otherwise, I would have gone like bitter, like, why am I dressed? Why I got to get dressed? Why I got to go to this thing? Because not only did I end up going, ended up at work. I worked it. I set it up. I helped them. You know, like it's gotta be about somebody else's pure joy. Because I'm like, man, I want them to look back on this day. And do you know? I mean, can you imagine what the young lady is going to feel now? Like, man, your mom came and she stepped in and helped. She did this, man. Because you know, I could have gone and like sat down, sat my little bit behind. You know, been one of the old ladies. Like, I'm just sit over here. Why is this thing even started yet? God, dog, what's going on? No, like, okay, listen, what you need me to do? What you need me to do? She was like, Mom, come help, please. Okay, hey, let's roll with this. This is what we do. This is the family business. I keep telling y'all, this is how families do. And we've gotten away from that. Yeah, I had to get out of bed to go do that. Thank God it was in the neighborhood. Get dressed. Mother, daughter, you know, she was checking, like, is mom gonna be, is mom in that mood? Is mom tripping? I know they sent her over here to see. They so slick, y'all. My children are so slick. The other daughter come rolling through, like, Mom, you ready? I'm like, yeah, you know, I was 5 minutes before time to go. Yeah, I'm jumping in the shower, right? She said, well, let me go on it. Let me go do your hair right quick. Let me do your makeup right quick. I'm like, okay, whatever, you know, come on. All right, I'm like, and then I'm sitting there like, oh, they don't, oh, she don't, they, because you know, my children got this this group chat that I'm not even in, and I know it's all about me, so I know that she done like go make sure Mom getting ready, you know, like done rolled up in here, done did my hair and makeup. See how they do, and I'm thinking, see, you got to figure this stuff out. But anyway, but that's what this is about, pure joy. Up for discussion. I called it up for discussion, but I think it's really about pure joy. Get like Driving Miss Daisy, Hope, and Idella. Okay, Idella wasn't telling Idella. Okay, I know we know Idella sit there and die well shucking them peas, but Idella wasn't telling Miss Daisy. Miss Daisy said it. Miss Daisy said, well, she didn't know what they did in that kitchen. Y'all go watch Drive Miss Daisy and watch it for the right reasons, right? Go, I just want you to watch it and see what was up for. They didn't tell Miss Daisy nothing. Miss Daisy was talking about, well, you know they this and you know they that. You know, honey, Idella, child, And then when they went to Idella's funeral and see where Idella was laid out at the honey. Idella was saving all that money. But let me tell you, they was taking care of their families, y'all. I love me some Hope, okay? And I know y'all don't want to watch it because you're worried about how we look. But y'all better go and watch it called Hope was, first of all, Hope was retired. And he went over there. And Hope left so many breadcrumbs, y'all, in Drive Miss Daisy. And I know every time it's on and everybody watches, even The Help. Everybody watches for their own reason, but watch it and figure out, honey. Hope says so much stuff. It cracks me up every time. Miss Daisy and what was Miss Daisy's son's name? Oh my God, I can't think of his name. Kept trying to get all up in Hope's business, and Hope was telling him all the time, that's not up for discussion, Miss Daisy. Miss Daisy, that's my business now. I don't have to tell you this, that, and the other. And he would tell him that all the time. Okay? Listen, you decide what you want to tell people. Don't worry about what this look like to whom. It's yours. Okay? And out here in social media, some of these people can't handle it. They can't handle your pure joy. If going over there getting you that Popeye sandwich gives you pure joy because you get to do what your friends are doing, or hey, whatever. Listen, just tell them it's not up for discussion. Learn how to say what is and is not up for discussion. Stop worrying about how we look. Just make sure that you are linked up with the right people. that you are experiencing people that have got good behaviors and not bitter behaviors, not bad behaviors, not dangerous behaviors, right? Because they worried too much about what someone thinks. A number of the crimes, many of the crimes that happen in our society, people who are sitting in prison right now, or not the innocent and wrongfully accused, but some of the others were trying to undo something because they're so worried about what somebody else is going to think, too worried about what somebody else has, too worried about what somebody else has done, and that's what they're sitting there pontificating, thinking about, pondering, wondering, wishing they could undo. Somebody today can't get out of bed because they cannot simply undo the mistakes they made or the errors they made just yesterday. Somebody right now can't go around some friends because they think that friend knows that they were talking about them just yesterday. So now they ghosting, they're distant, right? Because they think somebody has discovered that they just not good people. Everybody ain't good people. Everything ain't up for discussion. Okay? But one thing that is promised to us all is pure joy. Talking with you guys on this podcast at just a minute over, y'all. Just a minute over our 45 minutes. It has been absolute pure joy that you will sit in on this time that I allow myself to express myself in public, and hopefully, and I know that you guys enjoy it, because the minute I stop doing it, you like, oh man, I miss it. You need to do that again. You need to do some more of those. Here we are, we back with book 2. It's called How to Get Out of Bed. If you're listening to this one, there's an awesome and amazing archive of 90 plus episodes. If you need to get out of bed, you can take 10 of those, and you can say, okay, I'm gonna listen to this 10 and get myself out of bed. I'm gonna change up my behaviors. They said do something 7 times, it becomes a habit, or it becomes part ingrained in you. Find 7 of those podcasts, or just find 7 minutes, or whatever you need to do to get out of bed. To get out of bed. And guarantee you, if you just do the one simple thing, stop worrying about what somebody else thinks and just go on your own, the first thing you're going to do is leap up out the bed, because it ain't about somebody else. Now, if you got some of those bad behaviors and you constantly out there doing things that now people think the worst of you naturally, seriously, then you need to fix that. Go ahead, but fix it. That's the thing about it. Fix it. Don't keep saying you're not going to fix it, being all stubborn about it. Just fix it. If you got to apologize, apologize. If that's what they demand, then either you apologize or you say, okay, that's the end of us. Which do you want? And sometimes you have to say, well, let's just let that be the end of us. Let's just take a season and figure out if we can just keep it moving. I mean, really. Like, if you looking at the timeline and too many people if too many people on your timeline enjoy the chicken sandwich. Because I'm going to tell you what I did. All those people that say, I hope y'all voting. I went down some of those timelines. I didn't even see a voter sticker. You talking about you hope the voter line. I didn't even see a voter sticker on there. I mean, there's a thing called, we can search your timeline, right? And I normally would do that. When people all of a sudden find a soapbox or a pulpit and they get up in it, I'm like, I go look at their time like, please. Because I need to know if you're legitimate. Right? I need to know if it's legitimate what you're saying. I'm gonna find out. That's just what I do. That's what I'm over here doing. That's my trolling of the day. All right, listen. I am getting ready and Petty Betty's giving me to wrap it up, because we got to get ready to head out. Hopefully that means wrap it up. Let's go get breakfast. I have no idea. Maybe she wants to give me some pure joy for helping her in her first vow renewal yesterday. I don't know how she's going to reward me. But we're getting ready to go find us some pure joy of our day, and I hope that you would do the same. Good Lord willing, I get the breath of life, honey, and you're going to get another podcast tomorrow. Everybody, please enjoy the rest of your weekend, and listen, come Monday tomorrow, we're going to talk about it. And again, go out there. Your president is way over there talking about those tariffs. People have been watching the market. The market was way down pending this trip. And so watch the market and see what's going on. If your 401k is all up in the mix, if all your savings is all up in the mix, your investment and those kinds of things. Your president, He's trying to create something that he thinks is going to unify us. Hopefully it's not a disaster that we become unified with. Hopefully it's going to be something positive, but wake up early and have some cash. And I'm not trying to scare you, just trying to prepare you. But keep an eye on these things. And those are the people. It's some brilliant people on your friends list that's watching this. I'm not one. I'm watching the money folk. So definitely go and check out some of those timelines. And then let me just let you know, I could not be on this podcast if it was not for supporters. If you were to go to naturalsoapbythekid.com and put in that discount code DryerBuzz, there would be some incentive and reward for us to continue to do these podcasts. All right. If you want to learn more about the family business, one essence of the family business is ilashher.com. Check that out. And then, of course, we've got some others as well coming on board for September. If you'd like to be in that scroll down there at the bottom for September, then inbox me and let me know. I'll tell you how to get signed on for that. I need you to do me one more favor. You know what that is.
Go now to DryerBuzz.com and follow @DryerBuzz on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's all about the buzz.